here. I'm just hoping that the gentleman who knows how to run this thing is behind me. Does anyone know if he's there? Oh, good job, he's waving. We're all set. Not yet, though. When we started this little adventure about a year ago, I stood before you at the Siemens Inn, and I told you my story about my theme for the year, and I told you I wanted everybody to get more plugged in. And tonight's remarks are going to be brief because I want to save the stage for Sam, and she's an example of what it means to get plugged in, because we sit here tonight having turned people away for this event, mostly because they forgot to RSVP on time, but the good news is they wanted to come. And at the end of the day, I think we have about 150 people here, and that's pretty much a record. So you know what, hats off to Sam, and hats off to all of you for coming out and plugging in. And you know, I also said when we started the year that I was going to try to reach out to you in places and ways, and we were going to do that as a board in an effort to serve you better. And I think that for those of you who have been paying attention, we're on Facebook. Now, I will admit, I'm not there as often as Sam is, she's better than I am, but the truth is, we're there, we're updating, we are also tweeting. There are people tweeting, there are people texting, and we're linked in. So we've been trying to reach out to you folks in new ways. Some of you may have seen the video casts we did this year. Along about the third time, I think we got it right. We got the lighting good, and I pretty much determined that the darker the lighting is, the better I look. So that worked out really well. And then at the end of the year, we've had an opportunity to attend the NAR annual convention, and myself and Sam and Carol Christensen spent some time plugging in a way that we hadn't ever done before. I mean, I know many of you participate in the habitat builds locally. I have. But I can only tell you that the experience we had there is far different than the experience that we had here. And when we arrived there on the scene, it was amazing. We got to meet the owner of the two houses that we were working on, and they're required to put in 300 hours of community service on their home to help put it together in order to be eligible. And it was really amazing for us to see how happy these people were in the situation that they were in. And I would like to just take a couple minutes now to roll, and these are courtesy of Carol, who was thoughtful enough to bring her phone, which had a good camera on it, and she knew how to use it, which was great. And so I'd like to show you just a little bit about what it means to be plugged in and how different that is than some of the things we do here every day. Okay, roll it. Is this the part where I start singing? Hello? Here he comes. I think he's coming. Wasn't there a man with glasses? There we go. Imagine this was your neighborhood. That's me with the paintbrush. I actually did paint. And that's the actual dedication of the house. Shirley's up there in her red shirt. She's the owner with her family. And there we are. So, when we say get plugged in, this really is what we mean. And you know, serving on committees here at ECAR, and serving on the board and working your way up through the ladder to become president, it's all hugely important. But what's really important is that you take that plugging in and that you spread it around and that you encourage other people to do the same, because when you multiply, you wind up with 300 people working on 5 houses, and you wind up with people who have homes. And here at ECAR, you have a lot of volunteers, a lot of whom are very dedicated. You're all out here, and you serve not only at the local level, but you serve at the state, and some of us at the national level. And the agendas and the things that we fight about, and I know Bob talked about a couple of things on the political front, like your mortgage interest deduction. Well, those ideas don't just sort of hatch. Those ideas come from you guys. Because what happens is you all have things that happen in your neighborhood, and you bring it to your committees, and you bring it to your board of directors here, and then we bring it over to Bob's group at the state, and we whine and complain about certain things, and then it goes up the chain to national. And I sat this year in our state and local issues committee meeting, and we determined what's the agenda for the next year, which is really exciting because I got that agenda, what I contributed to it, from all you. You know, we're having FHA condo issues, we're having property tax reform issues, we're having conveyance tax issues. And so when they come up with that national agenda that we all fight about in DC, it's because you all took the time to plug in, get involved, talk to somebody who then talked to someone else, and up the ladder we go. And that's how those houses get built. So thank you. Thank you for plugging in. And at this point, I really just want to embarrass my husband completely and ask him to wave and stand, because the only reason I'm standing here is because he was at home cooking, and he's actually very good at it. So, my adorable husband, Bruce. He's a keeper, so we're going to keep him. So again, I just want to say thank you for the honor. It has been a privilege and a pleasure, and I can't believe how fast the year went. I am looking forward to continuing my work and moving up the chain. I'm working with the CAR Executive Committee this year, and I'm still on my national committee, and I think we're going to drag a few people along. Maybe when Sam's done being president, we can talk her into something new. So thank you very much, and I guess at this point I get to turn it on over to Bob.
Thank you very much, Deb. Just a great leader, and you've been blessed to have her. And Bruce, thank you for taking care of her and allowing her to dedicate all the time. Deb, before you go, I'd like to call Carol Christensen and Fran Waite forward to make the presentation for the outgoing president.
Okay, am I allowed to tell a funny story? Carol's looking at me like, oh God. I just want to say that there is one talent I did not know that Carol had until just last week while we were down on Bourbon Street. And she was only there briefly, so don't believe people when they tell you she was there all the time. It's not true. But for the brief period of time she was there with myself and Sam, we participated in something I've never done before and may never actually do again, and that was a karaoke. And what we determined is that it's best to do it at 12:45 a.m. because very few people are still alert. So if you're not good, it really doesn't matter. But the good news is we had Carol, and she has a hell of a voice, and we sang Lady Gaga's Bad Romance, and do you know people loved us? So, so Carol, thank you for your contributions to the board and for your fabulous rendition of Bad Romance. And Fran is a colleague of mine at Ravis, and she's been on the board for years, and God knows how many committees have you served on in your tenure, and she's been a huge help to us, and we will miss her, but I think she will be grabbed up in other places and ways, so thank you both. Okay, so now I turn it back over to